Voters in Texas have recently begun receiving checks in the mail sent by the Ted Cruz campaign, which sounds good. But unfortunately, they're not checks for you, they're checks for Ted Cruz. They look official on the outside, and it says check enclosed, but the check is already written out to Cruz for president for $45. Seeing there, matching gift reply. Because you want something nice and colorful to read while you're pissed off. And so it's made out with this letter that says that they have all of these new generous donators. And if you donate, then they will match the donation. So if you found the idea of giving money to him distasteful before, now it's going to be twice as much money. But obviously his campaign has already been under a great deal of scrutiny over the mailings that they sent out in Iowa before the caucus. They were implying that Ben Carson was dropping out of the race, which wasn't true and could have been electorally significant since they have a lot of overlap in terms of their voters. And they were sending out those shaming letters that imply that people haven't been voting enough in recent elections, and so they better go out and vote for Ted Cruz. And so for these to be going out to apparently a dozen states at the very least, that's not what Ted Cruz needed right about now when he's already trailing in New Hampshire, the next race. So they asked his campaign spokesperson about this, Catherine Frazier, who said, "These match-type fundraising mailers are common to both campaign and nonprofit solicitations. Our mailer clearly indicates that the contribution is going to the Cruz for President campaign." Yeah, all of that is true on the inside. It's not true that you make it look official like they're getting a check on the outside so that they open it up and get pissed off.
So they're right, there's a bag of tricks for people trying to raise money. They're right, Marco Rubio and others do it, that's what they mentioned. But the difference is they don't say that you're going to get the money, right? Yeah. So they'll say matching donations, they'll say this, they'll say that. But there's a particular irony here that Ted Cruz makes it look like it's a government check.
Yeah.
Okay? And so it looks like it's from the government and it says check enclosed, like for example, your Social Security, right? And so the people get excited. And then he uses that to raise money for himself. Wait a minute. I thought you were against government checks. I thought he was the guy. Isn't he the most conservative, he claims?
Yeah.
He's against entitlements. But when it comes to him, he's like, oh, you got a goodie in the mail. It's an entitlement from the government. Oh, psych, give me money instead.
Yeah.
So it's funny that that's what you use to raise money for yourself.
Well, it's also, I mean, you're 100% right there, but you're even more right in a general sense that, like, conservative politicians are the biggest recipients of handouts in the history of the world. Half of their day is spent calling people to beg for money they haven't earned. Now, maybe when you ask Goldman Sachs or a big oil company for money, you've given them 10 times as much in the past. But for a regular person, they're not going to get shit from Ted Cruz. That's just wasted money being thrown to him. Ted Cruz, welfare queen.